What's up, y'all? IBO MMA here, back again with another video. Today, oh my god, I'm so consistent, bro. It's like every day, bro. Shout out Jake Paul. But nah, today I'm gonna be talking about, I'm gonna rank the champions on the easiest path to the belt to the hardest path to the belt. All 8 champions, all the male ones. I'm sorry to the females. If you guys want to see the list of the females, go to my WMMA channel. It'll be the link in my description. But let's just get into it, right? Oh, by the way, before I get into it, for the double champions like Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev, and Alex Pereira, I'm gonna be talking about their wins for their first belt. So Ilia like featherweight, Islam lightweight, Pereira middleweight. I'm not gonna be talking about the second belt because like, how does that even like? I don't even understand how would you even do that? I don't know, but let's get into it, right? Let's get into it. Alrighty. Which UFC champion had the easiest path to the belt? Or the hardest? Who knows? Subscribe to IBO MMA. Let's start with the easiest. Alex Pereira at middleweight. He had to fight, I think, 3 times before he got the title shot. The UFC was pushing him crazy. If you guys don't remember, let me just explain it to you. Izzy, had an interview at a bar, and he was pretty much like, oh, I beat that guy one time. He was talking about Alex Pereira, that, Alex Pereira, he had 2 wins over him, and he was like, the only reason he's relevant is because of me. Boom, UFC signs Alex Pereira, and they're pushing him crazy. The first fight, he had a flying knee knockout, and they're like, yeah, let's push this guy. They gave him Bruno Silva, which that was kind of like an easy win for Pereira. And then they rushed him all the way up the rankings to Sean Strickland, he was like, I think ranked like number 5 or something. Like he was ranked hella high. And they gave him that fight after 2 fights in the UFC. He was a big name before the UFC, as I said. And then when he actually got the title shot, which, listen, props to him, getting a 3-5 win streak. I think they were all knockouts except the Bruno Silva one. But, when he got the title shot against Izzy, he was 2-0 over him in kickboxing, not MMA. He was 2-0 over him. So, like, he probably had the easiest path to the belt. Like I said, not a lot of fights. The UFC was pushing him. He was obviously ready. And then he beat a guy who he's already beat. Like, what's, easiest. But now let's get into the second easiest. Number 7, Ilia Topuria at featherweight had the second most easiest run. Actually, no. I think this ranking is going from easiest to hardest. So he had the second least hardest. Okay, I don't know what I'm saying. But nah, he beat Emmett to get a title shot. Can we just be honest? His whole UFC run, he was beating guys who aren't that great. Like, I'm not saying the UFC was giving him easy matchups, but Ryan Hall, Damon Jackson, who else? Who's like the British guy that he like knocked out clean? I forgot his name, but I forgot his name. And then, all right, they feed him to the rankings. He's a big name in Spain or whatever. He already had a following a bit. Boom, he's talking crazy, and then he's fighting Bryce Mitchell. Like, the competition isn't crazy, right? His way to get into the rankings, he fought Bryce Mitchell, whooped him, beat him easily. But I think the beef with Paddy Pimblett definitely, rise him like more through the ranks. What am I saying? I don't know. Let me speak English. It is 4 a.m. If you guys aren't, look at this proof. Look at the proof, bro. It's 4 a.m., bro. It's 4 a.m. But don't worry, bro. I'm getting this content out, bro. I don't care if it's 4 a.m. But, yeah. Boom, beat Bryce Mitchell, and then he beats Josh Emmett. And then usually, in my head, when he beat Josh Emmett, I was like, all right, let's give him one more and then a title shot. One more, then a title shot. But for some reason, the UFC, I think it was because of Volk, because Volk was low-key calling him out. Because Volk, he was running out of people to fight at featherweight. Like, he just beat Rayo Rodriguez, and there was no one else. It was just like between him and like Max Holloway, number 4, which did not make any sense. So boom, he fights Volk. He was supposed to fight Volk in January of 2024, I think. But, if you guys don't remember, Charles Oliveira pulled out against Islam Makhachev, and then Volkanovski stepped in on short notice, got knocked out. He still wanted to fight Ilia in January. They rescheduled it for February, like a month later. And then we all saw what happened. Volk came straight into the fight after getting knocked out, and then Ilia knocked him out, and he won the bout. Props to Ilia. It's easy. It's easier to make your way up to the ranks if you're really entertaining and getting a lot of knockouts. So you can't really blame Ilia and Pereira for, their ways to the belt. But nah, let's get into number 6. Who was it again? I know, Tom Aspinall. Thing about Tom Aspinall is it was kind of like wishy-washy. Like, there were some really impressive parts, and there's some like, you're fighting Andrei Arlovsky and like Jay Collier. Bro, I'm telling you right now, click off my video, search up Jay Collier. Bro, he might be the biggest dude I've ever seen. Like, he's like one of the fattest dudes in the UFC period ever. Bro, he is big, bro. That was Tom Aspinall's first win in the UFC, I think. And then, boom, he fights, I forgot, this other big guy or whatever. He fights Andrei Arlovsky. He's destroying them, by the way. He's knocking them out in like a round and submitting them in a round. Boom, he actually fights kind of good competition in Sergey Spivak. He fought Volkov. And then he got injured against Blades, Got injured against Blades, and then he fought Tybura. And then, if you guys don't know, his way to win the belt was kind of weird. Like, he got called up on short notice. John Jones pulled out against Stipe Miocic. He got pulled up on short notice to fight Sergey Pavlovich. Which Sergey at the time, if you guys don't remember, he was this like crazy, powerful, the white Francis Ngannou. That was literally like his name. Like that's him. He was like the white Francis Ngannou who built like a refrigerator. Tom Aspinall dusts him in the first round, and then it's like he became champion because John Jones retired, John Jones was ducking, let's be honest. But looking back at it, he had a pretty rough time. Like, he got injured for like a year and a half. He had to fight Tybura for his comeback fight or whatever. And then the way to win the belt, he won on short notice. Like props to him. We don't really see that much. You don't really see that often, people winning belts on short notice. It's like him and like Bisping. I know he won the interim belt, but I kind of just count that as the belt. But he just hasn't had a lot. Like, the reason he's not higher on the list on like the most difficult path to the belt is because he hasn't had a lot of fights. Like, he doesn't have a lot of fights, but that's not because of him though. It's because of, the heavyweight division is just not. There's just not a lot of fighters. So you win 3 back-to-back knockouts, and then it's like, all right, let's push this guy to a main event. That's how it is at heavyweight. That's literally how it is. Even now, it's still like that, bro. Like, why was Derek Lewis fighting? Who did he fight his last fight? I forgot his name, but that tall Brazilian. That tall Brazilian had 1 win in the UFC, pushed him into a main event. Doesn't make much sense, but shout out Tom Aspinall, number 6 on the list, because, he just hasn't, it's heavyweight at the end of the day. It is heavyweight. But number 5, Khamzat Chimaev. I feel like y'all think he had the easiest way to the belt. I feel like y'all would think that, but it wasn't really that easy. Like, it took a lot longer than we expected. Can we be honest? I think we all, he came into the UFC. I wasn't a fan of UFC back then. I think it was like 2020 or something like that. He's destroying everyone. We all thought, people thought that, he was going to win the belt in like 2 years. Like, his way to the belt was like pretty much predetermined. Like, we all knew he was going to be champion. But it took way longer than we expected. He fought a lot of legends like Robert Whittaker, Gilbert Burns, Usman on short notice, kind of, And then, of course, GM3. Why are you looking at me like that, bro? I said 4 legends, bro. Calm down. But just, he had a lot of injuries, so it was pretty tough for him on that part. And then him just fighting for the belt, right? Very tough champion, Dricus du Plessis at the time. I think Khamzat was the favorite in that fight, but we all knew what Dricus, Dricus was dangerous. We all knew that. We all knew he was kind of unbeatable at the time. Not unbeatable, but bro, Dricus, the goofiness. We thought the goofiness was gonna beat Hamza, or not me, but a lot of people did. And then we saw what Hamza did. I feel like I don't know if he should be at number 5. Who did that? Who did that? Nah, I'm playing. Very underratedly hard weight to the belt. Very like controversial. Fighting at welterweight, doing amazing at welterweight. Boom, misses weight. UFC forces him to move up a weight class. He fights Paulo Costa. He pulls out. He gets sick against Robert Whittaker. They reschedule it. He beats Robert Whittaker. And then Sean Strickland gets the title shot against Dricus. Like, it's kind of weird, but he did end up being champ, even though it took longer than we expected. Yeah. Number 4, Volkanovski. If you guys don't know, I'm tired, bro. I'm tired. It's 4 a.m., bro. But he came into UFC. He had like 5 wins over like kind of bummy. Oh, I don't want to say bummy, but like not the best competition. I think the best win in that 5-fight win streak was like Darren Elkins. Like, that's not great. But then he fought legends like Aldo and Mendez. He fought Mendez, very competitive fight, a war, how much it lasted. And then, Volkanovski knocked him out. And then with Aldo, he crafted his way up to a decision win. So he was on a 7-fight win streak in the UFC before he got the title shot. Looking back at it, it wasn't the best competition. Like, even Aldo and Mendez, they were, on the decline. Even though Aldo was like 30, but, he was on the decline. Like, come on, bro. He was on the decline. But what carries him up to number 4 is just Max Holloway, bro. Max Holloway at the time, he was looking very unbeatable. He came off 2 back-to-back knockout wins over Jose Aldo. He was on a crazy win streak. And then Volkanovski beat him, Very tough way to win a belt. We got champions like Jamal Hill nowadays, where it's like, it's not that hard to win against him. I could beat him. Now I'm playing. He would beat me up, bro. I'm not gonna lie, he would. But Max Holloway at the time, unbeatable. Even now, very unbeatable. And yeah, number 4, Volkanovski. I feel like I'm an L explainer, bro. Put L explainer in the comments, bro. Number 3, I'm tired. Number 3, Islam Makhachev at lightweight. By the way, it's at lightweight. I really wanted to put him like on the stat sheets. 11-fight win streak before a title shot is kind of crazy. He maybe should be higher, but I understand that he did have the Khabib push. Khabib's friend. Khabib, he was with Khabib everywhere he went. Khabib was always talking about him. He had that push and that like kind of like fan base before he actually became champion. But then again, like 11-fight win streak, he lost his first fight in the UFC. He got knocked out his first fight. He went on an 11-fight win streak for someone who had like the Khabib narrative of like the second Khabib. Why did he have to go for an 11-fight win streak? You would think the UFC would push him a little more, but on the 11-fight win streak, let's be honest, bro, the opponents weren't the best, but it's 100% not his fault, though. It's not his fault. A lot of pullouts from his opponent, and then someone covered in. Hooker, short notice. I think he was supposed to fight Beneil Dariush. Hooker stepped in, destroys him. Bobby Green, short notice. He was supposed to fight, I think, RDA. Bobby Green steps in, destroys him. Moises, he beat Moises. Baby Sarukian, I think that was Sarukian's like first fight in the UFC, was against Islam Makhachev on short notice. And then Dower, like, okay wins. Okay, but let's be honest, he was heavily avoided. Like, the only people who were, like, I remember at the time, like, he was calling out Michael Chandler. He was calling out everyone. And just not a lot of guys were really accepting that, But what pushes him to number 3 is Charles Oliveira as a champion at the time. Very elite champion, very like Like, he was on his path to be like a legend and one of the best lightweights of all time, or the GOAT of lightweight, you know? But Islam did his thing and he beat him. But yeah, bro, 11 fight win streak. 11, that's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. But you know what's even crazier? The Uber driver himself, he became champion while working with Uber. He was an Uber Eats driver and he became champion, bro. That is insane, insane. But Pantoja, I think the most underrated fighter in the UFC, the most underrated path to the belt, like very underrated fighter. Bro, he had a ton of wins. Like, I had to scroll like 3 pages before he won the title shot. I had to, like, his fight record, I had to scroll like 3 pages, bro. He has a ton of fights before he became champion, a ton of wins. I think he only lost twice, once against like a no one, and then the second time against Figueiredo on the come up with like Figueiredo, where we all know he's a legend. Losing to Figueiredo, that's not bad at all. He fought the whole division. The only him and number one, I feel like y'all know Merab. Him and Merab were the only people on the list where like they fought the whole, like they fought the best of the best before they actually became champion. Not a lot of people, not a lot of champions in this day of age. They don't really do that no more, bro. They're being pushed heavily. Yeah, they're being very pushed heavily, but Pantoja and Merab, they don't have like they don't have the fans. The fans weren't on their side when they were a contender, you know? So they had to fight their way up. He fought literally everyone at the time, like Manel Kopp, who did he fight? Brandon Moreno, he had 2 wins over Brandon Moreno, Manel Kopp, Brandon Royval, Alex Perez, Figueiredo, and then who else? Matt Schnell. Like, bro, those are 6 good wins at the time. Oh, wait, he didn't beat Figueiredo. So those are 5 good wins at the time. He lost to Figueiredo, right? He went on a 5-fight win streak. And then he got a title shot. Losing to Figueiredo, he went on a 5-fight win streak. That's crazy. Did I say he was an Uber driver? Did I say that? Yeah, he was an Uber driver at the time. He was working Uber. And then the only thing that kind of holds him back from being number one, Moreno as the champion, he beat Moreno, but he had 2 wins over Moreno. I remember at the time, like I think people knew that Moreno was better than Pantoja at the time. Remember at the time, I keep saying that at the time. But people were picking Pantoja just strictly because their history. Like, it's just not meant to be, you know. Moreno is just not going to beat this guy. And that's what happened. But yeah, very tough way to the belt. Very. Number 1, Merab. He's fighting this weekend. He has the toughest way to the belt. This is not because, just because he's fighting this weekend is not the reason behind this video. But he comes to UFC. He loses his first 2 fights. All right. He goes on a 10-fight win streak. A 10-fight win streak. And then he's fighting like elite guys in that win streak, like Aldo, Marias, Peter Yan, Cejudo. Yeah, like crazy. Like, imagine that list of people right there, right? You had to fight all those guys. Bro, all those wins, that's like a Hall of Fame, that's like a Hall of Fame resume right there. But he fought all those guys before he became champion. Like, that's absolutely insane. The only reason, he had to fight all these tough competition, elite competition, is because he wasn't doing it very, stylish. He wasn't stylish. He wasn't very entertaining. So, win over Aldo. If you knock out Aldo, you're getting a title shot. But if you kind of hold Aldo against the cage, you're not gonna get a title shot. Like, it's a business. So yeah, Dana did not like him at all because of, he was kind of a little boring, and because of the whole Aljo situation. Aljo was the champion. He wasn't trying to fight Aljo at all, even though he very well could have. The UFC was offering that fight. He just did not want to take it, which respect to him. Also, dangerous, tricky champion in Sean O'Malley. I think people see Sean O'Malley now as kind of overrated. But bro, the only person that beat O'Malley is Merab. So can you really blame O'Malley? Like, looking back at it, bro, the O'Malley wins are elite, bro. Those are elite wins. because O'Malley's, bro, at the time, dangerous, tricky. Like, a lot of people were picking O'Malley in that first Merab fight. So I think I did. I genuinely think I did. Bedtime did. A lot of first round knockout picks. But Merab, do you know what he did? He beat him, bro. He beat him. He became champion. Absolute horrendous way to the belt. Like, I'm telling you, like, if this happened to me, bro, I'm like, why me? Why do I have to win 10 fights? Why do I have to win 10 fights before I get a title shot? Makes zero sense. But yeah, bro. Is there anything left? Subscribe to IBO MMA. That's crazy, bro. I don't know about that. I don't know who put that in there, but nah. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and bro, tell me if you guys like the videos. I mean, look, I'm trying. Like, bro, it's too late for this, bro. I feel like I didn't even explain it too well, for real. But Merab, shout out Merab. He's about to win this weekend, and I'm going to bed.